Welcome to the Redondo Beach local election candidate discussion for mayor. My name is Mark Hansen. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce Board and a member of their Government Relations Committee. I will be your moderator for this discussion. Congratulations on your decision to run for public office. Our candidate for this interview will be Joan Irvine. Today's format will be as follows. You will be given a 2-minute opening statement. You will then have 10 minutes to answer the 5 pre-selected questions that were emailed to you and to each candidate at least a day prior to today's Zoom call. The timekeeper will give you an alert at the 15-second point, and she will give you an alert when your time is up. You do not need to stop abruptly. You may finish your last sentence or two. You may now provide your 2-minute opening statement.
Hi, I'm Joan Irvine, and obviously I'm here because I'm running for mayor. I'm an 18-year resident of our wonderful city. I'm a Leadership Redondo alumna, class of 2008. The mission of this program was to train citizens to become community leaders. This was the start of my involvement in Redondo, which has continued for the last 17 years. My campaign slogan is keeping it real in Redondo. We need to be more pragmatic, which I've learned to be in the last 15 years of my professional career as a sales executive for L'Oreal and automatic data processing, ADP, a programmer at Bell Labs, and including 25 years of managing online child protection associations. Plus, I have many other chapters in my life, as we all do. With what I've been doing, I think it's so important that we take a really pragmatic look at what's been going on in Redondo. I take a look at being involved with Redondo as long as I have. I've just seen that the city has really, I hate to say it's been going downhill. I was taught years ago, I was at a Child Protection Association hotline international meeting in Rome, and I was sitting next to one of the executives from the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. And he said to me, Joan, you either have to grow or die. And I thought it was I'm going, oh my God, that's really kind of, not even, I just didn't like it. I thought it was just too negative. But the reality was you have to grow or you're going to die. And sadly, Redondo has not been growing. Our infrastructure has been disintegrating. We don't have the revenues coming into our city like our neighbors do. And now, all of a sudden, after years of trying to get growth in the city, supporting many measures, supporting many projects, all of a sudden, the current administration and the administration before had stopped these, and now they're going, oh, gee, I guess we need to be, growing. We need to be having more housing. We need to be having more businesses in order for Redondo to continue on into the future. So I'm really pleased to see it's happening, but, I'm hoping it's not just a little bit too little too late. And it's going to take another 10 years for everything to be moving forward and the revenue to be coming into the city. And that's just not pragmatic or practical. We need it now, and we need to be doing something immediately.
Thank you very much, Joan. Now for our first question, can you please share your top 2 to 3 priorities for the city of Redondo Beach if you are elected to mayor, and what are your plans to accomplish those?
Well, when I am elected mayor, I'll start off that way. My priorities, first of all, economic development, including the Artesia Corridor, South Bay Social District, the waterfront, and the pier. And I'll discuss these a little bit more later if time permits. A big concern of mine is government efficiency. We need to get back to basic established protocols for the council and the commission meetings. A recent example of this is the Planning Commission meeting last week, where their goal was to address 2 zoning issues related to cannabis dispensaries. Instead, they spent almost an hour discussing everything else but what they were supposed to do. And it was just a repeat of what the city council had already done and made decisions about. It was a waste of their and staff's time. And we need to get back on track. I think what we can be doing is at each mayor and commission meetings, the chair or the mayor should state the protocols at the beginning of every meeting and insist adherence from the members and the public. This would result in more productive and shorter meetings. And neither one of these suggestions would cost the city any money. In fact, it would save staff time. We've been asking the city to be doing something about smoke shops since before the pandemic. Nothing was done until this month. This is an example of how the city is not making timely decisions. And it was those type of things that I think are very important and can be very simple to implement in our city.
Oh, thank you, Joan. What do you see as the primary assets a thriving business community brings to the city of Redondo Beach, and what will you do to support business retention, growth, and job creation in Redondo Beach?
Well, primary assets from the business community include more tax revenue, and this will help us maintain our infrastructure without additional taxes or bonds. For example, the pier and the waterfront should be thriving. I mean, it's beautiful. We have something that most cities never would love to have, but it's not because it's old and run down. The businesses are struggling. An example of this, a recent example, is the owners of Project Barley on the international waterfront spoke at City Council meeting this week. And they discussed how the rain is seeping into their business from above, even into their kitchen. They've been doing what they can, but their costly repairs can't stop it. The city needs to fix the problem from the landing above the international boardwalk, but there's no money in the budget to do this. We need to also be open to more and larger businesses in Redondos, one that would increase sales tax, create jobs, and provide necessary services and goods to our residents. According to a recent article, Redondo's tax revenue have only increased by 5 or 6% in the last 10 years, while Hermosa and Manhattan have increased by over 30%, and Torrance is even more than triple of this. I mean, we need to be doing something because, I mean, to be what, 5% versus 30%, I mean, that's just totally unacceptable.
Thank you very much, Joan. Our third question, in an effort to address the housing shortage in California, the state is proposing policies that would reduce local control for individual cities and provide a one-size-fits-all solution. What will you do to preserve local control relative to zoning?
Well, first of all, I appreciate what the prior city council did to preserve local control, but we need to follow through with providing affordable workforce housing. Also, it's so expensive to live in Redondo that the children need to move away. I mean, what I've been hearing from parents and grandparents is that their kids are having to move out of Redondo, so they're being denied that local access to their children and their grandchildren. And this reduces family time. Plus, some parents and grandparents need to leave our city, their city, and the years of community ties to be near their children and grandchildren. And this is unacceptable. With limited land use, we need multi-use projects that would provide a mix of residential and business taxes. Plus, it creates an automatic community because since the residents can just like walk downstairs to their merchants, you get to know your merchants, you see your neighbors, and it also would result in less traffic and parking issues. I supported Measure B in 2015 that would have allowed such a project on the AES property. Also, the prior city council and mayor were against this. Now, over a decade later, they're supporting mixed use since they finally understand, the business benefits and ramifications. Hopefully, it's not too little, too late, because our city is hurting for tax revenue.
Oh, thank you very much, Joan. For our fourth question, what accomplishments in your past make you the right choice for this office?
Well, locally, I founded Keep the Esplanade Beautiful. It involves citizens, and I've been able to bring people in. So what we do is once a month with Keep the Esplanade Beautiful, we call it First Saturday Sweep. People come and join us. They help clean up the Esplanade. We've engaged the Club Scouts, the Rotary, the school district, Leadership Redondo. And it has really been a way of community engagement while we're cleaning up the Esplanade, which is going to be attracting it attracts more people to the Esplanade, and then also more people to Riviera Village, which increases their revenue. Also, I was one of the public faces for No on Measure A. I supported Measure B and the Waterfront Project. I supported the Legato Project, the bike path. I spent 25 years managing child protection associations where I facilitated the development of realistic policies and regulation to protect children online. One of our councils included an international experts such as the first female president of the ACLU, who was president for 18 years, the lawyer who contributed to the Child Protection Act, the head of the Cybersecurity Center at Indiana University, a top law enforcement agent in the UK, and other subject matter attorneys. So I'm used to dealing with high-level people making major decisions on an international basis. I also was the CEO of the Association of Sites Advocating Child Protection. I oversaw a child pornography reporting hotline for 9 years. I worked with the
15
FBI, the
seconds.
DOJ, Interpol, and other child protection NGOs, such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C., working with Senate and congressional staff. I was even asked to support John McCain's child protection bill when he was running for president.
Thank you, Joan. For our fifth and final question, is there anything that we haven't mentioned that you would like to discuss?
Boy, there's lots of things I would like to discuss. First of all, I think we really need to get back to the basics. For some of our city council and commission meetings, what I would suggest is that at the beginning of every meeting, that the mayor or the chair of a commission go through what the protocols are on these meetings, because the meetings are just going all over the place. They're not following the Roberts rules. And a good example, of this, as I mentioned, was the Planning Commission meeting. So I think it would be really good, if we just establish that at the beginning of every meeting, and it would save us so much time. Also, what I would like to see is I would like to see our first Saturday sweeps on the Esplanade be expanded to the whole city. Could you imagine if the first Saturday of every month, all throughout the city, groups of citizens got together, creating community, and they would clean up their area? I mean, it doesn't cost a city any money for what we do and keep the Esplanade beautiful. I mean, they have given us some plastic bags and a couple of those picker-uppers. Otherwise, we've gotten no money from the city. It's citizens being involved. So if we could expand this, I think it would be great for the city, great for our community, and it would also give us the reputation of being a city who's really concerned about the environment, and that the citizens are willing to be involved in it and take their part in it. It takes like 45 minutes or an hour once a month. So I would love to see all of Redondo doing that. And I would love to see our tourism department be promoting that as part of, what Redondo has to offer. And it's great training for our kids. I love when the scouts come to keep first Saturday sweeps, because it's showing them about community involvement. They're learning about the environment. They're learning about what trash and cigarette butts and all that can do to our environment. And as I said, it probably doesn't cost us any money to expand it. It probably could be, and I haven't checked this out, be included under the Neighborhood Watch or some group that's already working throughout the city. So
Right.
once again, an inexpensive way, very pragmatic. Let me go very pragmatic way, for us to be more involved in our environmental effort. And also, I just want people to know that, I've had 50 years of professional career. And as I said, I'm very pragmatic, and I'm not doing this as my next step to any other role. At my age, I'm just doing this to give back to my community. I felt it was very important with what I've seen happening or not happening on city council and in the